The Office of Work-Based Learning and Apprenticeship stood up a little over a year ago, so June of last year. Since then, we've made some progress. I think I want to share that with you. A little bit about the office too, and see primarily how we can help you folks, let you know what we have internally and how we can be an asset to you. So, our executive team, every one of us at DWD has one of these things, and I think they're pretty good. So, creating meaningful work-based learning solutions through engagement and partnerships with employers, education providers, and agencies, meaning you folks, partnering with you, engaging in the communities, engaging with you, and utilizing the assets that we have to hopefully make some things a little bit better. Current personnel, those of you that saw us last year, Carrie Lively, my senior director, and I did a statewide tour. We did all 12 regions, about 32 meetings in 6 weeks. Yeah, we were a little wore out when we got done with that, but it was very important for us to get out, not just to share with you what we were planning on doing or what we were already working on, but also to see those best practices out there and get to know you folks and know the communities better as well. So you can see we're from all over the place. A couple of us from Terre Haute, Cicero, Lafayette, Indianapolis, LaPorte up north. I have 2 openings. You folks in the regions pay attention to that, because word of mouth helps us fill these positions much better than pretty much anything else. So the plan is still to have a regional director of work-based learning in each of the 12 regions. We see that at the community level being extremely important in working with you, working with the employers, the education providers, extremely important. So currently recruiting Eastern Indiana and Southern Indiana. Some background data real quick, just so you can kind of tell where we're coming from and why we do the things the way we do them. Our high schools right now, about 80,000 potential high school graduates per year. We say potential because 9,000 right off the bat are graduating. That's very problematic for us. Moving on, you get about 25,000 that have no idea what they're doing, right, after school. Of the ones that head off to college, only a few of those, 30,000, successfully completed within 6 years. So the bottom line here, about 62% of our high school seniors each and every year are not completing anything beyond high school within 6 years. Of those that do head off, you can see we've got first year dropout rate of about 30% within our colleges and universities. Looking at adults, most of you know this too, about 500,000 adults in the Hoosier states that do not have a high school credential. About 50% of those enrolling in adult ed are doing so below the 6th grade level, which becomes then problematic for us. If we don't know that, recognize that, and deal with that up front when we're starting to upskill those folks for current openings in those high-wage, high-demand jobs. So the traditional student is not graduating from high school, moving on to a 4-year school and graduating within 4 years anymore. But we've got a system set up where we keep assuming that that is what's happening. So as you can see, and based on time, I'm not going to read through all these, but our new traditional college student is not somebody that runs right off and finishes within 4 years. Something definitely to keep in mind. Because as we go through this, we're looking at how do we set them up for success then, if all of that is not the way it is right now. And most importantly, why do we keep selling that one-size-fits-all solution? You're going to finish high school, then you're going to go off to a 4-year school, you're going to find your career, and things are going to be great, right? Well, that's not happening. But we also say all this other stuff that all of us are busy working on. That's the alternative to this. Collectively, we've got to work together and push a different message out there. And that is, well, if you go off to 4-year school, which is great, if you can't do that and you can't cut that, well, then we have this other stuff for you to do. That's not it anymore. That's not what the employers need. That's not what a lot of folks are capable of or even want to do anymore. So we've got to stop selling it that way. Lots of stigma around community college, as we know. Work-based learning and manufacturing careers. I came out of the manufacturing industry. It's dirty, low-paying jobs, right? Absolutely not. Our registered apprenticeships, those are for union trades only. Absolutely not. You'll see in a second here. Certificates, technical certificates, associate degrees, industry certifications. That's what employers are telling us we're going to need in the future. Whether you've got a bachelor's degree or not, but nearly half are saying we need not the bachelor's degree, but something more than high school. So we're focusing on this. And again, it's not the alternative. 3 main objectives in the office. We do coordinate, we partnership almost on a daily basis now with the U.S. Department of Labor to kind of grow registered apprenticeships in the state. You'll see some statistics here in just a second to see how well we're doing with that. Develop and most importantly, implement a framework of other work-based learning pathways. And then the most important thing we do, we can develop programs all day long, but if we don't have that public-private partnership, it's all for naught. Work-based learning, understanding that, most of you have seen the wheel. Multiple pathways, again, because that one-size-fits-all doesn't work. So all of this is considered now through my office, the state of Indiana, to be work-based learning. Are we starting to focus more so on those comprehensive programs? Absolutely. Because now we're getting out there, now we're touching more folks, now they're starting to see the results of these things. But our stater, or our SEALs, is really a state-level apprenticeship, if you will. It's not registered with the Department of Labor, but it is certified through our office. Then, of course, registered apprenticeship. Understand also, work-based learning is not a one-time deal. It's an actual continuum that's ever evolving and ever moving. So as we start that process, the younger we can start it, obviously, the better. As we work through career awareness, exploration, preparation, and finally, that training piece. So, Office of Work-Based Learning. I put this together just so you can see the assets that we have and believe that we are to you. Not for us to go out and develop a program and kind of force it on you and say, here's what you got, but so that you can see our level of expertise and our experience as well. So the office I've made up is folks from industry, from education, both K-12 and post-secondary, that had to go do this stuff at one point in time. Even in the world of aerospace, I had to go create work-based learning programs because that was the best way for me to build and fill a talent pipeline. Because my human capital shortage was absolutely my number one obstacle for growing the business that I was in. So there's a lot of experience that we have. Please tap into that. Lots of partnerships we bring to the table too. So I mean, we're kind of a single source. Use us, please, when you want to pull all these other people into the same conversation. Businesses that we're working with. I'm not going to read them off, but you can see small, large, everything in between, cut across all key economic sectors within the state of Indiana. Services provided, we talked about that a little bit. I do want to highlight, so Trilogy Health Services, for those of you that don't know who they are, we have one representative from Trilogy here today. 4 states, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan. We're their largest state with 65, unless I'm wrong, but 65 locations. Industry turnover for just CNAs that we're looking at, about 150%. Through the use of registered apprenticeship and stay earn and learn, okay, so 2 different pathways, if you will, or programs within work-based learning, cut to now it's less than, I changed it. It was 43% last I checked, and just checked the other day. We're down to about 40% turnover. Stuff works. They're keeping people, the retention rates are there, turnover costs are down. This is what we want for all companies and all industries. Commissioner Payne mentioned it earlier. We've seen a 106% increase in Hoosiers in work-based learning in the last little over a year. Indiana was second, only behind California for the number of registered apprentices in the country. Third, only behind California and New York for the number of completions. So we've got good support services out there to see these things through to completion. Over 1,000 occupations. It's not just trades. Think of a job, there's a registered apprenticeship program set up for that. We now have 1,056 different occupations that have a registered apprenticeship program within the state of Indiana. All of this you folks have seen, it's very similar to what we're going to talk about with SEALs here in a moment. So 1,050 programs now, we're up to 1,056, like I said, over 17,000 apprentices. We're growing exponentially. And that's because we're partnering together, making sure we're getting the word out and showing that this is not an alternative to, again, that 4-year degree, right? So, intermediaries, let's talk about that. Regions 1, 2, and 10. The ink is almost dry on yours, I know, just this week, right? So, that's good. Intermediaries. Think about that if you're not already as workforce boards. There's a lot of advantages to being that and a lot of things that come with that, where you can see it as being an asset for getting those programs started, developing those, pulling the partnerships together, works extremely well. Benefits, lots of them. We get down to the bottom line because that's what everybody's excited about, right? Is there any funding that goes along with it? Maybe. We do get some grants every once in a while, and I'll talk about that more later. A good asset for workforce boards to be involved in. State Earn and Learns certainly build partnerships, grad pathways, they support that. They check boxes both 2 and 3 for the new pathways. Sustainability, support, a little more detail on those things. They really do mirror registered apprenticeship, except They're definitely geared towards what the employer wants, down to the skill level. They can be short-term, long-term, adult, and youth-oriented. So very flexible programs, but very comprehensive programs, and I'll show you an example of what one looks like. We'll go through this quick. So this is in healthcare. Long story short, you're starting as a junior in high school. By the time you graduate with this state earned learning, we got 7 industry recognized certifications, almost 1,100 hours of on-the-job experience, and up to 20 transferable credits at IU Tech for an associate's degree. What's wrong with that? Nothing. But again, people kind of treat that as though, well, that's that alternative, right? We're seeing more of this, and even integrating these things so people are going on to a bachelor's degree and master's degree as well. The stackable credentials are very important for us. A few final thoughts. And we did training back in April with different folks from the workforce boards, and we talked about this there. So if we're really focusing on work-based learning, the new grad pathways, which both of those things are a blessing. Like someone else mentioned earlier, we're getting calls from other states all the time. They're jealous of these new grad pathways, and they love what we're doing in work-based learning and apprenticeship within the state of Indiana. Public-private partnerships, focusing on pulling all of that together in a partnership is huge. Then we become less dependent on programmatic funding, which, let's face it, if we're looking at federal dollars that are coming through there, passing through the state, out the workforce boards, we've been doing this stuff for decades, right? So look at that, look at the results compared to what we're doing right here. So less dependency on that. And Gina, sorry, but let's focus on unemployment insurance as well. So, engagement. Think of it this way, adult solutions typically are reactive, right? We know, going back to those numbers, we've got an issue with adults within the state of Indiana that we're trying to educate, certainly, that youth is where we can really see that proactive approach to that and those solutions. Takes more than a single discussion. I hear that from people all the time, well, I met with them and they're just not interested. More than one conversation. And with that, we see that in the office too. That's probably the thing that I've been most surprised about in the last year or so, is the number of companies, and you guys know this, that are just, they're not ready quite yet to pull the trigger. But when we stay in that status, we've got to be, absolutely, passionate about what we're doing, more persistent with what we're doing, and we have got to lead. Don't wait for businesses typically to be ready for this, or even an education provider to be ready for that. Because we do have some school corporations within the state that are okay with the status quo as well. Well, news for them, they got the new grad pathways, and they've got to figure this relationship piece out, how we're connecting business and industry to education. We should be the leaders in that. Backbone of success, certainly, that public-private partnership, but it's at the local level. This is not another state office that's standing up here saying, thou shalt. We're here to supply the technical assistance, that expertise in being an assistant to you guys to help you better the programs that you're offering your communities. That's why, again, it's very important for me as I build the office out. I've got people in your regions that know your regions, know you, get to know you even better, and spend more time there. So a little light flashed on me here. Did it really? You're not very good at that. Usually us ex-military folks, we're doing something different than just standing around when we see them. Anyways, that was it. So, how over was I?
The music happened.